Caesar Marcos. I just have a few kind of things to bring to people's light. Over 38% of registered Arizonans voters identify as independents, and to deny them their right to vote in a presidential preference election, being the only closed primary in Arizona, seems kind of silly, especially when you consider the fact that I'm not sure when it was, but recently there was a voter registration data breach of over 191 million registered voters. Data is exposed, freely searchable on the internet. Using that information alone, anyone could go on to servicearizona.com and re-register them with a different party affiliation without their knowledge. And people's voter registrations have been changed across the country, and I feel like this is an issue that not a lot of people are talking about that much. I'm curious what would be the requirements to hold not a recount or revote, but extended voting with open registration and same-day primaries? What would it take for that to happen? I'm sorry if I didn't mean that as a rhetorical question.
I mean, you want to continue to just use your time. I mean, this is for you to state your experience.
Well, my experience, I registered before the deadline, so did my girlfriend. I went to go vote, and they couldn't find my voter registration. Then they found it, and my name was misspelled. By that time, it was too late to change. I was given a provisional ballot without telling me that's what it was, and that was after waiting in line for 3 hours, and I got to vote at 10 a.m., so if it was that backed up by then, it's kind of ridiculous. And I feel like I've heard anecdotal evidence of 1 in 3 people giving provisional ballots up to 8 and 9 people giving provisional ballots. That's why a lot of the numbers that Helen Purcell quoted as likely election day voters seem very kind of off and fishy to me.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay.
So is there any, I'm just curious, what would it take to hold extended voting? Because that's my real question for coming here.
A polity discussion kind of outside necessarily having the public come here and testify. You use your 2 minutes. I greatly appreciate it.
Madam Chair, can I just respond?
Would you like to respond?
Madam Chair, members, and those in the audience, and sir, there are a lot of different ways people think we should handle it. Some people think independents should be able to weigh in for Republican and Democratic and other choices. Some people don't. Some people think we should have an extended time. Some people think you should have been here for a little while. Some people think the fact that we have permanent early voting captures that extended time that folks might have. There are a variety of different positions on that, which is why it's difficult to have a one-on-one conversation. That's a conversation we're going to have. And
I'm just curious how
you got to address the chair, and I know. Members, when you do come up to the podium, just so we keep the protocol, it's to the chair and then each individual member. Please continue.
I'm just curious. It seems like voting is trying to make more and more inconvenient in the hopes that people don't vote.
Madam Chair.
Audience, please.
With all due respect, the reason why Pebble was set up, it used to be absentee, you had to have a reason you were going to be gone. Then we just opened it up to anyone to try to make it more convenient. Now, I think it's perfectly valid that we look for ways to make things more convenient. We will be exploring those. There are, like I said, a myriad of ways that might look like. And that'll be a discussion that will be ongoing, and we invite you all to make your opinions known and to weigh in with your elected officials. But it can look a lot of different ways, so it's hard to have just a one-on-one within a 2-minute time frame to get to everybody else.
No, I mean, that's fair, but it just seems like this discussion is going to be ongoing past the point that this election is relevant. And it does matter now. Like, if you had the ability to put forth a extended voting period with same-day registrations and open primaries, it would pretty much change the country.
Madam Chair, people in the audience, there's nothing we can do about what the election that just occurred. Obviously, we're trying to explore what the problems were. We can't go back and sort of retroactively give people extended time. That would be a violation of other issues that the Supreme Court's ruled on in the past.
Listen, audience, I called this hearing so that you had an opportunity to engage and be on the record. Work with me. We need to make sure this is structured and timely so we can get to as many people, all of the people possible. This is for you, and so let's use this in a timely fashion.
I mean,
And your comments are important and noted, and we do appreciate them. Thank you, sir. Thank you. The next individual wishing to speak, and then the next one in the queue, please.